excited in the sense of that so much is being unmasked, right?
Yeah.
I'm excited about that because, like, that kind of ugliness should not be able to be hiding in plain sight.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it shouldn't be. So make yourselves known. How do we remedy?
Yeah.
Right? And more importantly, how do we improve unselfishly for those that come after us? Because that's the bigger conversation.
Exactly.
That's the bigger conversation. If you're angry and nasty about whatever, how you feel about people, all right, cool. But guess what? You have a son, you have a grandson, a granddaughter, whatever. You don't know who they're going to fall in love with. You have no idea who they're going to make a life with, right? So that selfish kind of behavior is going to impact, the life quality of life for your descendant, man.
Yeah. The bloodline. The bloodline.
Yes. That's why I have this T-shirt, man. I've been doing for years. Says "Love is Gangster."
Yeah.
Right. Because you have this idea perpetuated through like music, film. What gangster looks like. It's the ability. Gangster is the ability to not have empathy. It's the ability to not, care about consequences of your actions or being cold-hearted. So I'm like, no. The harder thing to do, the hardest thing to do, in my opinion, one of the hardest things to do is to love.
Yeah.
Like, it is to love. Like, unconditional love. Like, even, like you said, when it's like white supremacy is the responsibility of white people, right? That requires you to have accountability, and that accountability cannot be faced if you aren't looking at yourself in the mirror. You're not looking out for any other answers. Yeah. It's looking at you, right? Yeah. That's hard to do.
It is.
It's very hard to do for you to look at yourself and be accountable for your own stuff.
Yeah.
Ownership,
accountability, responsibility, forgiveness, and understanding mistakes in the present tense, and then breaking the cycle of that type of behavior.
Like people thought experiences were parallel. Like, oh, I got taxes to pay too. I gotta go buy groceries too. Right. But there's so many more facets that were either ignored willingly or people just were not aware of, right?
Exactly.
Because as black people, when we go to our places of work, we literally have to separate ourselves from our pain. We aren't allowed to show up to work the next day viewing, say, what's on tip of my tongue, George Floyd, right?
Sure.
We aren't allowed to show up to work the next day and be paralyzed from what we saw or the experience and think of our father, think of our son, we're not allowed to. You got to come there and produce. You got to come there and do what you're hired to do. So it's like, to me, that is no different than 400 years ago when a person had their child ripped from them, sold upriver, downriver, to another plantation, whatever. You didn't get to grieve with that tragedy or with that trauma. Show up and work. Show up and work.
Black women are my superheroes. This is an incredible project, It's a moving video.
Yes.
It's moving to me, to watch it.
That was just the nature of it, man. They both had curated their own playlist. They were like, well, do we dance to your pieces? I'm like, no. Yeah. My pieces are just the background. Like, this is less about me.
Yeah.
Like, it's really less about me.
Yeah.
It's about the celebration and ownership of our blackness, because we're not often able or permitted to without looking like we're being racist by saying, I'm proud to be black, because it's not a proud thing to do. In the view of those who are racist.
Yeah.
Right? They just did. So those words weren't my words. Like, those were Jane Elliott's words, which to me gave me the permission to be like, I didn't say this. I agree with it, but she said it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, a white woman said this.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I wanted to make sure that was a part of this narrative, right? And for people who would feel offended by it, I'm like, no, this is not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
this is from a doctor who studied race, who was white, who gets it.
Yeah.
So, the piece is, the short of it, man, after that piece is remarkable, man. I'm very proud of it.
It's so awesome.
because I believe very soon the rapture is going to take place, and then the tribulation begins, which is basically the world I see us living in now, the nightmare world.
Mostly you're just hoping that the landing will stick, and under pressure with the moonlight sing through your ribs, while underneath the cracking tarmac earthworm shuddered and coil. Grateful rain crashed so profusely you could swim through the soil. Gentle bottom leaves toast, taking shock silhouette, and in the silence you can feel it, but you like to forget that there's a stirring in the forest, and the birds are aware. So while you're choking on ceramic, armies gather and boast of how the mass they open fire on aren't quite people but close. You thought this tricky situation somehow vanished in smoke, but you're broken and you're hopeless, are tormented the most.
Is this what you want? America? What is it all? America? We America? You are fine.
And if they're given just a minute to small from a bone, we're all the same. Just all content separate from machine. The movement is movement if it's forced with direction. Shallow weight on the front borders of private dissection. But I'm learning that in essence it's a mirror and blue. And in the moon it's a melon that can shape to a tune. It's worth focusing on pushing into gravity you. While the world rises to leave your body absorbing it. But if the sunny puppet in a rhythmic desire, ring a cloth above the highway and a sword of fire. Then it's fire that you play with in the morning is steep. So watch for signals in your window while the rest are asleep.
I just pray that things are going well for you and you're prepared to be with the Lord, because I believe very soon the rapture is going to take place, and then the tribulation begins, which is basically the world I see us living in now, the nightmare world.
The common misconception about noise music is that it's just noise. But with your music, it there are underlying melodies, there's poetry, there's all of these things that are happening that could fit into any genre of music. So why noise? Why is that the best thing for you?
I think when I first got into noise, I saw it as sort of like this totally and completely freeing creative experience.
Mm-hmm.
Just sort of like kind of that feeling that I was always really chasing after when I was, making conventional music, was just that like that soul to sound barrier is, exactly shrunken, gone, whatever. So I think like making noise is kind of like, it was a way to like really access a lot of that subconscious stuff and just spill it out onto, cassette tapes and whatever. And now I'd like to kind of teeter on the edge of, chaos and organization. And I guess it was just a way for me to process. I feel like there's a lot of artists that they want to be like this voice or whatever that people listen to and learn from and whatever. And my music has never really been about that. I've never really been the kind of person to like advertise my music. And that's kind of been like a constant battle in my mind of whether it makes sense to even release this music, like, I'm making it for me. I'm just trying to process things around me, and every song I've ever made has just been trying to make sense of things, whether they're in my head or outside my head. I think it's meditation. It's nowness. You know, it's getting in that river and letting it take you, seeing what happens. Let the things do what they want to do, but the point is that you're there and you're fully there when you're making improvised music, because you have to be. You know, you can't just sing the words you memorized while you're playing the chords you memorized. You know, there's a lot more risk involved, I think. And I think that risk is what makes it more of a fulfilling thing, I guess. But there's also a lot less risk in the sense that you can't really do anything that's wrong if you're noise. So
How now?